It's crazy crowded. This is entrance to Gion Hanamikoji Geisha district in Kyoto, Japan. To be honest, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to, but I have to. Because the theme today is Gion really worth visiting? When people think of Gion, they think of a refined Japanese tradition. All I can see right now are human heads, that's all. It's tradition that tea house customers take taxis or limousines because they're upper-class people. No matter how crowded this geisha district is, they don't walk here because it'll be embarrassing. Spending a lot of money on being with young ladies is not necessarily considered a good thing. If a customer is a company executive, he's likely to cover the expenses from the company, not from his wallet. Although geisha has been a profession of pure entertainer with traditional dance and music in the last 50 years, there remains misunderstanding and prejudice to geisha. Customers can get dirty looks. Secret is a key to geisha districts. This enormous popularity among travelers can be a problem for them. Gion Kobu Geisha district has banned photos on the street from this spring. Anyone who violates the rule is fined 1,000 yen or 70 USD. With that amount of money, you can stay at a hotel in Kyoto or any other places in Japan. It's too bad. Only a few tourists know that they can still take photos here. I've never heard of anyone who got fined. Here's the thing. It's not the Kyoto city or Japanese government, but the Association of Gion Kobu Geisha District that decided to prohibit photography on the streets. The association is the only one that can impose that rule because this geisha district is private land that belongs to the association. However, this is an exception and it's a big one. There are a couple of public streets running across the district. The Geisha Association has no authority to ban anything in public places. This is Hanamikoji, the main street of Gion Kobu, which is public property. It's a shame that 99.9% of the travelers here refrain from taking selfies on the most beautiful street in Kyoto City. Travelers should be reminded that 98% of the streets are no good for selfies though. Before the spring, I remember that a lot of tourists were busy taking photos on this main street. It's too bad that they're not correctly informed. So, if you ever come to the street, please do it. Tradition and modernity. Lambo breaks the serenity of this traditional area. So many things to see in Kyoto. I've seen this orange Lambo several times in Kyoto. It looks like this guy is driving in touristy spots all day to show off. One of the unspoken rules in Gion is that no matter how crowded the street is, taxi driver should not honk because that keeps this geisha district quiet. He ruins everything all by himself. Did you know how old Gion Geisha district was? Kyoto was Japan's capital for 1,000 years. However, its history may not be as old as people think. It was about 400 years ago, in the 1600s of the Edo samurai period. Back then, this geisha district had no geisha at all. This area developed as more and more people visited Yasaka Shrine. They traveled a long distance and needed a place to rest. A bunch of small tea houses opened up to serve them green tea and light meals. That was the origin of the Gion Geisha district. As Japanese commerce developed into the 1700s, the new class of wealthy merchants looked for high-end service, which created pricey catering restaurants and gorgeous entertainers, geisha. This is why, even today, the most expensive entertainment places are called tea houses. They don't serve tea any longer, but only extremely expensive catering cuisine. Gion District has developed its unique culture to entertain rich customers with outstanding dance, music, and talk. Geisha have come to make up essential part of traditional Japanese culture. Watch out! She was almost hit by the car. It's too busy here. They cannot build the sidewalk though. The law says they have to preserve the townscape just as it was 300 years ago. Two geisha are in there. First class geisha is super busy, going around several tea houses. A geisha belongs to her geisha house, not to a tea house where customers are entertained. If we consider geisha as an actress, the tea house is a theater and the geisha house is a talent agency. Many customers tend to call on popular geisha at the tea houses, which makes the top 10% of the best geisha pretty busy, especially on weekends. They have to save time to entertain as many customers as possible. Maiko is coming. Maiko is the apprentice of geisha. They're between 15 to 20-year-old young ladies who enter the geisha world right after middle school. In the daytime, they go to the geisha school to learn traditional Japanese dance, traditional musical instrument, and the tea ceremony. At night, they go to tea houses with geisha to entertain customers. Maiko is not an easy job. She has to live in her small geisha house together with the owner and other Maiko, meaning the privacy is quite limited. Some customers can be nasty because most of the customers are people who have their own businesses. Maiko is a worthwhile job though. Being associated with top-class society, they are treated like celebrities. What they wear and eat is the best of all. This Maiko is with her Shikomi girl. Shikomi is the apprentice before becoming Maiko. Everyone who enters a geisha house has to spend 1 year cleaning up the house and cooking day and night as a Shikomi apprentice. They're not allowed to wear kimono or entertain customers at the tea houses. The life of Shikomi is set very hard, physically and mentally. Not every Shikomi apprentice makes it, living in Gion Kyoto without making their dream come true. The way to Maiko is not easy. This is Aoyagi Koji, another public street where photos are not prohibited. A lot of people. 15 years ago, there were only tea house workers, restaurant chefs, Maiko, and customers on the streets. Back then, who thought it would be like this? Taxis are taking customers to the tea houses, but they don't honk. There are so many unwritten rules and secrets in this geisha district. Even if you do some research online in the digital era, you don't get much basic information like how much a tea house charges customers. It's seriously mysterious. In the first place, there's zero chance for a first-timer to make a reservation at the tea house in Gion. You have to be invited as a guest of someone who is already a regular customer of the tea house. She entered Ichirikite, the most prestigious tea house in Kyoto or even Japan. It has been only for the first-class people like famous company executives, Kyoto mayor, and ministers of Japanese government. Why do they need this kind of machine in traditional Japanese streets? At the end of this Hanamikoji street, a construction is going on. They are building a modern hotel which will open in a few years. A modern building in traditional Gion? Thank goodness. It's going to be more crowded than this. Tourism in Kyoto will grow faster and bigger than ever.
It's a concrete.
No way. This geisha house is on this bustling street. The traditional townhouse has almost no defense against the noise. They can't renovate them more soundproof because the laws say the townscape has to be remained like in medieval Japan. We have moved 3 blocks north of the Hanamikoji area. This is the Gion Shirakawa area. Shirakawa River from this Tatsumibashi bridge is always amazing. Where is the Maiko or Geisha? I can only see tourists. I hear 10 different languages at a time. 80% of them are foreigners. It's too bad. Cherry blossoms are only 20% in bloom. This is the last week of March, so they're supposed to be in full bloom. It's still too cold this week. I think most tourists from other countries have decided to come to Japan to enjoy the cherry blossom viewing. Gion Shirakawa area is one of the most popular cherry blossom viewing spots in Kyoto. Along the river are a classy restaurant with a traditional Japanese feel. Geisha originated in Kyoto, but the weird thing is that there's no geisha in Kyoto. The word geisha is used in Tokyo and most of Japan. In Kyoto, people call them geiko. Kyoto locals are proud of their culture. They're not happy when travelers from other cities use the word geisha in Gion area. What's the difference between geisha and Maiko? Maiko is a 15 to 20-year-old apprentice of geisha. First of all, the looks are different. The Maiko wears a super long kimono belt which hangs in her back. She occasionally wears super high-heeled sandals. Her hairstyle is set up with her own hair, while the geisha wears a wig. When Maiko steps up to geisha, she leaves the geisha house and finds her own apartment near the Gion district. Geisha still belongs to the geisha house, which manages the schedule with the tea houses. Geisha is said to earn a lot of money, whereas Maiko gets little because she's an apprentice who owes expensive kimono and geisha dance school fees to the geisha house owner. Maiko enjoys less privacy. She has to live in a geisha house with other people, including the geisha house owner. She can wash her hair only once a week when her Maiko special hairstylist set up the hair. A Maiko hairstylist is expensive and difficult to make an appointment. She has a special pillow to keep her hairstyle. A person who tosses and turns a lot would never make Maiko. Because of the conspicuous hair, she cannot go outside Kyoto Central. When it comes to noise and crowdedness, Gion Shirakawa is not as bad as Gion Hanamikoji. This is another street along the river, which is lined with traditional Kyoto townhouses. So, if you don't want to go to busy places, this area is where you should go. We're heading to another geisha district. This is the Pontocho Alley, one of the 5 geisha districts in Kyoto. This small alley is lined with hundreds of nice restaurants. There are no street lights, only lanterns and neon signs, which makes Pontocho this beautiful. The word pont doesn't sound like Japanese. It's said that in the 1500s, it came from a Portuguese word for bridge, ponte. Portugal was the first Western country to start trade with Japan. Maybe the word sounded trendy back then. Pontocho Alley changed a lot after COVID. Before that, it felt closed to tourists. All restaurants were too busy with Kyoto locals and regular customers. Making reservation a week in advance was necessary. Now, the situation changed, and they welcome tourists, whether from other cities or other countries. Most restaurants put up signs with menus and prices. Otherwise, they won't have enough customers. There are a couple of geisha houses in this alley. Pontocho Geisha District is not as large as Gion Kobu in Hanamikoji area. There are about 50 geiko and maiko in Pontocho, whereas 100 in Gion Kobu. So if you see a maiko here, you're lucky. $150 ago, when the Edo samurai period ended, there were 1,000 geiko and maiko in Kyoto. Since then, most parts of geisha district transformed into modern nightclub areas. COVID and Japan's decades-long recession affected the 5 geisha districts in Kyoto. This traditional culture, unique only to Japan, is shrinking each year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.